What's up? It's your girl Sophi B and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a hair tutorial in store for you guys. I'm going to show you how I install my Microlocs, and I'm going to use the same method I use for me. And I have a special guest today, my demonstration doll Beauty, who's going to help me show you guys how I do this. If you would like to see how I installed instant locks, I did it in a previous hair tutorial. I'm going to put the link below. So let's begin. So when I installed my Microlocs in my hair, I used a 3-way mirror, and this is how I did my section. So I'm going to mirror this on my mannequin. As you can see, I first had to comb out the locks that I already had in my mannequin's hair. I did instant thick locks. It was very easy to comb out. I actually used a fork. Here are some of the tools that I use, as well as a bunch of hair ties. So I'm just starting off by brushing the hair. Then I'm going to go in by parting my sections. Now, when working with Microlocs, you can choose to do your grid however you want to. I kept mine simple by putting a part in the back of my hair, then another part from ear to ear, then a part at the top, and one that goes during the center, because it's very important to me to have my middle part at all times, because I wear my hair styled in the middle part most of the time. Now that part in the middle that goes from ear to ear is very important, because if you like to wear your hair in half up, half down style, it is good that when you lay your hair down, you have a very clean part in the middle. So here I am just going in and making my middle part. It's very important that you get your middle part in the middle. And some people do this by combing from the forehead up. Some people comb from the nose up. It takes a few tries to get it exactly perfect in the middle, but do your best. This works well when you're doing this on your own head, to use a 3-way mirror to get the part exact. You may need someone to even help you, because once you start your Microlocs, it's going to be very hard to move that part. Once I have all my sections, I then start with the very bottom row, and I work my way from bottom to top of the head. I also split up how I do my sections on various days, just so I'm not making any errors and I can get it as neat and as tidy as possible. I like to start from the bottom, just because when you start from the bottom and work your way up, you can see how your locks are going to flow, and you can also course correct as you go towards the middle and the front of your head. If this is your first time doing it, it's better to make your errors towards the back of your head than in the front of your head that is more visible. So over time, as you install the various rows of your Microlocs, you will get the hang of how you should braid your hair or twist your hair, depending on which method you choose. And as you practice, you'll get better. And this is why I like to save the front for last, because I'm going to be as precise at the front or the end than I was at the beginning. So it's good to spread out your sections in the course of days, because depending on how many Microlocs you have, this can take a very long time. My mannequin has a very small head, smaller than average head. So I broke it up in sections. I did a section per day, and that maybe took like an hour and a half per section. And I did it within 3 days, because I have a life and I have a children and I have a husband and I have other things that I'm doing. So for me, this method works best. And when you rest, you're going to get better results than if you were to rush through the process. So I like to make my parts around my perimeter bigger than the parts in the center. So for me, the densest part of my hair is the center. So I make those parts very small because I have a lot of hair in that area. And I know that if I make the locks part smaller, the locks are going to be about the same sizes as the locks around the perimeter. Most people tend to have a less dense hair around their perimeter. If you are older, you may be experiencing some thinning around your crown area, around the back area. And this is why you want to make bigger parts in those areas, because you're going to make the lock stronger if it's bigger. If it's too thin, you may find that those locks may break. When installing microlocks, some people like to use a grid pattern, which is what I did. On my mannequin, however, I did somewhat of a brick layered pattern. It's not really grid, just because of time constraint. But basically, when you're making interlocks, it's a series of braids. So think of mini braids or micro braids. And what makes them locks is that you leave them in. You don't take them out. And as you wash them, as you go about your life, I would say within 6 months, you'll find that your locks begin to transform, and they will go from being braided to frizzy, and that frizz will eventually take whatever shedded hair that's in the lock. It will lock itself or wrap itself around each other, like just think of a plant or a vine, and that will make the hair thicker. So when you have microlocks, the bigger your sections, the bigger your locks will be. The tinier your sections, the tinier your locks will be. So when your hair sheds within the braid, it is going to collect. The less hair per section, the less fluffier the locks. So if you want your microlocks to be on the thicker or the fluffier side, I recommend to make the parts bigger. You could also try twisting instead of braiding. That gives fluffier results. If you want a neater, tighter, uniformed, skinny look, then you may want to braid instead, or even try interlocking your locks. So locks go through different phases of maturity. One of the phases that is very important that I just mentioned, the shedding of the hair within the shaft of the lock and the collecting and the gathering, that's called bunching. So as you can see, as I'm braiding, I'm not braiding all the way down the hair because this hair is straight. I don't really have to. However, if you have curly hair and you want curly ends and you braid halfway and you don't braid the ends because you want that curly end effect, just know if you don't detangle those areas when you wash your locks, it will bunch fluffier on the ends than up the shaft if you leave those loose ends at the bottom. So if you ever notice a person who has locks, they could be thick locks, they could be micro locks, they could be sister locks. If they have any bunching at the bottom, that was once upon a time loose curly hair. So just be mindful. If you decide to use extensions, the same thing might happen. It may bunch at the bottom, be frizzier at the bottom, be thicker at the bottom. Some people like this look, some people don't. If you want it to be uniform from top to bottom, I recommend braiding it all the way to the bottom. So now that I am done with the bottom section and first section of my Microlocs, I am going to take my interlock tool and I'm going to interlock the roots. I like doing this step from the very beginning because it keeps the locks from slipping out when you sweat or when you wash your hair. How you're going to maintain your Microlocs moving forward, you can do it two ways. You can retwist it or you can interlock it. I prefer to interlock it. So I use a 2-point rotation from east to west and north to south. And I repeat this rotation until the slack at the root is gone. Now it is imperative that you do not interlock your roots too tight. This could lead to having a massive headache or a migraine, and it could also eventually lead to your locks being thin and breaking. So you want to pass it through, maybe 2 passes of east to west, north to south, but I wouldn't do it too tight. One of the things that is awesome about Microlocs is that you can start with any texture of hair, straight, curly, kinky. Kinky is the best texture for starting locks. In my opinion, it's easier to form the locks. It's easier to stay together and to be neater without having too much frizz. You can also start your Microlocs with relaxed hair. Locks are very forgiving to even damaged, bleached hair. If you would like to color your Microlocs, it's recommended that you do it before you install your Microlocs because coloring your locks or bleaching your locks over time can weaken them. So I have completed interlocking this section and this is what it looks like. Next, we're going to move on to section number 2 on day number 2. So it's day number 2 and I am working on the front section. So the day previous, I did complete the back middle off camera. That way I could just go through it much faster. So here I am doing the front left section and it's very easy to install the microlocs on someone else's head. It is very difficult to do it on your own head, especially the parts that you cannot see in the back. This is why I recommend carving out time to do your microlocs little by little. If you start in the back, you could wear a wig on your head, you could wear your hair in a ponytail, you could wear a bandana to mask that your locks are in process. When I installed my microlocs, it took me 7 days to install about close to 400 microlocs. If you know you want more microlocs, let's say 600 to 800 locks, and you've never done this before, just know it may take you about a month to complete it. So I would carve out enough time and do a little bit each day. If you are a mother and have a family, it may take you even longer, and maybe you want to pay to go to a professional. But this video is specifically for those who would like to do it yourself. This is a DIY hair tutorial, and I hope that it's very helpful to those of you who want to save some money by installing your microlocs on your own. Microlocs are very expensive to get done. The more microlocs you want, the higher the cost. The longer your hair, the higher the cost. So learning to maintain your own microlocs will literally help you to save thousands of dollars. I have had locks for over 14 going on 15 years, and I have been my sole stylist. The only other person who styled these locks for me was my late aunt, the lovely Aunt Girly. She started my locks for me, and I became knowledgeable on how to self-maintain my locks myself. Doing my locks have saved my family so much money. I am now the family loctician, braider, barber, all the things. I do it all. When I first started doing locks, I was not an expert braider, but over time with practice, you do get better and better. The main ingredient that you need to get this done is patience. If you have patience, if you can carve out the time, if you are willing to learn, you can do it. Our economy right now, things are getting more and more expensive. The average cost to install microlocs can start you anywhere between $1,800 to $2,000. That's a lot of money. And then to maintain it, every month or so, that's additional money. If you got it like that and you like to spend your money on your self-care, doing your hair, do that. But for me and my house, I will be doing our hair and we'll be saving that money for something more important. So I am done doing the front section. I have one more section to go. And as you can see, I made the parts in the front a lot smaller than the ones in the back. So the back parts are about medium to large, and the front parts I did about small to medium. The reason I did this is because the hair on the mannequin is denser in the front than it is in the back. As I told you before, where the hair is denser, you can put more locks because the sizing of the locks, once it starts to bunch, you're going to see that the locks are going to form and they're going to be nice and thick and robust. But if your thinning is in your crown area, let's say you're an older person and you have thinning in the crown area and you want to start microlocs, you can. You just have to be mindful that where the areas your locks are thin, you have to make those sections a little bit bigger just for the strength of your locks. One of the things I recommend for thinning hair is castor oil, and to make sure you take your vitamin supplements. I have noticed that if you are nutritionally deficient in a particular area, this may affect your hair and the health of your hair. So you can take things such as a biotin or supplements that may improve your hair. There are different foods that promote glowing skin, and things that are good for the skin are also good for the hair. If you have made it to this part of the video, I just want to say thank you for watching this tutorial to the end. I know it is a bit lengthy, but I wanted to show in detail all of the steps, especially for those who are new to this and have never done this before but would like to learn. If you have any questions or comments, you can please leave them in the comment section below, and I will do my best to answer them in a timely fashion. If you have any questions for me about my Microlocs, feel free to ask. And I hope you enjoy this video. If you did, make sure to like and to subscribe to my channel for more content like this. I'm going to work on doing more hair tutorials that are a little lengthier and in detail. If you choose to start your microlocs with braids, just know that it may take a while for the braid pattern to disappear within the lock. Some people have noted that it takes years to disappear. Some people have seen it disappear within months. So just be mindful that it will take some time for the braid pattern to disappear. However, if you use interlocking to retie or re-tighten your locks on a monthly basis, you will see that the interlock method kind of looks like braids, so it does look fairly uniformed. However, over time, as the locks mature, it will begin to fade that interlock and braid pattern. Note, if you start your microlocs with extensions, you should only use human hair extensions. You do not want synthetic extensions to bond with your hair. If you use human hair extensions, especially human hair extensions that are not kinky, maybe they're wavy, maybe they're curly, they will not develop like your natural hair growing out of your scalp because extensions are dead hair. So they're not going to change form too much. They may get a bit frizzy. They may get a little bit fluffier slightly, but they will not identically match the development of the microloc that is coming from your natural hair. So also keep this in mind. As your locks grow, you may want to decide that you want to get rid of your extensions. Some people like to redo their extensions to match the thickness of their natural hair. So these are all things to keep in mind. If you do your microlocs with twisting, they'll also develop a little bit differently. Like I said before, they will be fluffier, they will be thicker, they may unravel easier when you wash your hair. So a lot of people who have microlocs or sister locks, they do a technique called banding, which is you can braid your locks, tie them with a rubber band at the end, and when you wash them, you're going to wash your locks in sections. This prevents them from unraveling in the beginning, which is very easy to happen. I never really did this because I didn't experience unraveling. However, over time, you will find that you no longer need to do the braiding and banding method as your locks mature, as they progress from braids or twists to locks. I believe that if you start your microlocs with twist, however, you'll definitely need to use the braiding and banding technique to keep the locks from marrying, unraveling, or just becoming a big hot mess. So this is one of the many reasons why I recommend starting microlocs with braids. It's not going to ravel as easily. It's going to be easier to wash and maintain. For the record, do you guys see that I'm doing this braiding with acrylics on? Just know if your braider can braid with acrylics, they really can braid because it's not easy to do. So I am almost done installing Beauty's Microlocs. I would say if I could do an estimate, there is probably maybe 170 Microlocs on her head. They're on the bigger side, and the mannequin has a smaller size than the average human head. So depending on how big your head is, how much hair you have on your head will determine how many Microlocs you end up with. It's not an exact science. Everyone's scalp and head and hair density is different. So I wouldn't look for a specific number per se. Like I wouldn't say I want 650 locks. It's better to say you want a certain size as to opposed to a particular number. So there you have it, folks. This is how you install Microlocs using the braid lock method. It's super easy. It just takes a bit of time. If you can braid and if you can part, you definitely can do this. Alright, that's all for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. Take care and God bless.